Hello, my beautiful people. This is Yele. Yes, that is me in the beautiful skirt, shaking my booty because the skirt is so cute. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make this skirt, showing you how to hem it past the elastic at the band and everything like that. So let's get right into it, shall we? So I got this cotton fabric or a drip fabric from a thrift store, and I wanted to use to make a dress, but it wasn't enough to make a dress, so I was like, let me use to make a skirt instead. Now for a circle skirt, we're always going to divide our waist measurement by 6.28, and now I'm going to show you why we got that number 6.28. So in case someone asks you, you can beat your chest anytime and be like, I know why we divided by 6.28 and it's not just a random number. Okay, so the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. That is like basic math. I know you don't really like math, but let's just roll with me on this one. So since pi is 3.14, we're using 3.14 as our pi, so we're just going to equate 2 pi r to the circumference of our waist. I'm using 39 because I'm passing elastic, and 39 is the circumference of my hip, so that the elastic can easily pass across my hip or over my hips. That's the reason why I am using 39 as my waist circumference. So since 2 pi r is equal to 39, then that means you divide 39 by 2 pi to get r. That is the radius you are going to cut out at the top of your circle. So 2 pi r is equal to 39, so that means r is going to be 39 divided by 2 pi, and remember that pi is 3.14, so 2 multiplied by 3.14 is 6.28. That is how we got 6.28, and that's the reason why you divide your waist measurement by 6.28. Now, to be safe, after dividing by 6.28, whatever you get, subtract 1 from it. This is because pi is not just 3.14, pi is 3.14 and other numbers behind it, so subtract 1 when you get the final answer of your radius. Then whatever you get, you measure it from the tip of your fabric. The tip of your fabric is on 4 folds, that it is folded into 2 and into 2 again. So the place that has all the folds is where you are going to measure from for a circle skirt. So my particular radius that I'm going to use, for example, let's say 6.2 minus 1. I got 6.2, then subtract 1. That'll be 5.2. So I'll measure 5.2 from the tip round about that edge, like you are seeing me do, and that'll be the radius for the circumference of my waist. And remember that I'm using my hip as my waist because of the elastic band I'm passing through it. So that is how you measure the top of your waist. Now for the next part is to measure the length of your skirt. Now if I was going to measure the length of my skirt from this particular circle that I'm picking now, I'm going to just measure the length of my skirt round about it. Now if I'm going to measure from the tip of my fabric, I'm going to add the 6 inches or 5 inches circumference, radius circumference that I picked, and then add it to the length of the skirt that I want. So if I was measuring from the tip of my fabric, that means I'm going to be measuring 24 inches instead of 19 inches, and that is what I'm doing. So you add the radius that you picked before and add it to the length of the skirt you want, if you want to measure from the very tip. But if you don't want to measure from the very tip, you can measure from the smaller circle above or the smaller arc above and measure the length of your skirt directly instead of measuring from the tip. But from the tip is easier for me. It's more straightforward, and that's why I measured everything from the tip instead of from my new arc. Okay, so after doing that, I'm just joining all my lines together, and then I'm just going to cut out the bottom of my skirt. Now the next tip I want to give is if you are making a high-low circle skirt. Now I want to give this tiny tip. I'm not making a high-low circle skirt because my fabric is not enough, but just in case you want to do it, this is how you do it. You open your skirt up, or you open your circle without cutting the upper radius, and then you shift the upper parts, or you shift one side of it up with the amount of inches you want it to be. Like if you want it to be 5 inches shorter in front, you shift the upper part by 5 inches and let the one under to be longer by that 5 inches. Then you cut your radius at the top after shifting it, so the front is going to be high while the back will be low. I don't know if you understood it perfectly, but that's just a tip or a little something extra for this video. Now let's continue with our skirt. Now I'm just going to rearrange the skirt back to the way it was, or to the way it originally is, a normal circle skirt, not the eye low part. That tip was just for the eye low, just like a digression. And let's stay focused on what we want to do. So I'm just going to fold my skirt back to the way it was, no eye low, and then I'm going to cut out my circumference out, and then here I have my skirt. You see, it's already looking really nice. And then the next thing is to cut out my band. So I take my fabric again to cut out 39 inches, a 39 inches band, because that is the only amount of inches that is going to be able to easily pass over my hips up to my waist, because I'm going to wear my skirt from down. And if you want to wear it from your up, then from up and not from down, you can always use your bust circumference instead of your hip circumference. I hope you get the understanding behind that. So I'm measuring 39 inches of my waistband, and I'm using width of 2 inches. I'm using a width of 2 inches and a length of 39 inches for my waistband. And then after that, I'm just going to stitch it on top of my skirt. At this point, I'm going to ask that if you have any questions whatsoever concerning what I'm doing, please ask in the comment section. If you have any suggestion for me or anything you would like me to make a tutorial on, please put it in the comment section, and I'm going to do my possible best to make it for you guys, because you're my gems, you're important to me, and I just want to make you happy. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do now is to go to stitching. So at this point, I'm just measuring the circumference of the waist that I have, and I noticed, of course, it was more than 39 because I forgot to subtract 1 inch from the radius that I calculated. So please don't be like me, learn from my lesson and subtract 1 from the radius so that you have a better circumference on your skirt. Now, to remedy that, I'm just going to pleat my skirt just a little bit as I sew the band on it, so that it will end up being like the same circumference or the same length as my band. So I just pleated a little bit along the skirt as I sew, just to make it go very nice and sweet and clean. Okay, so this is me sewing all the way, and then after sewing, I join the two ends of my band together. And after joining two ends of my band together, I'm going to turn it the other way and then sew on top of that. Now for this part, I'm going to change my presser foot to a zipper presser foot, because I feel like I'm going to see it better to be able to make that tiny little seam on top of my dress, or like what's the name, the top stitch. Very good, the top stitch on top of my dress. I feel that the zipper foot is best for that top stitch on top of the dress, so that it will look neat and I can see exactly what I am doing part time. So this is a tiny little trick for anyone who wants to do a top stitch. Try to use a zipper foot. It will give you more room and you will see better what you are trying to do and everything. So I finished putting the band in, and now I'm going to teach you how to hem the skirt, like the down of the skirt. Circle skirts are pretty difficult to hem, and so there are lots of tutorials online on how to hem it, but the easiest way that I've seen to hem is to just hem it once and use a zigzag stitch to hem it, and in such a way that the end of the hem is, the zigzag is going over the end of the hem to the dress. Like, I don't know how to put it very well, but I'm just using a zigzag stitch to hem it in such a way that it holds both the fabric and the hem together in one piece. And I realized that it works very well for my circle skirts. I don't usually have issues while hemming my circle skirts using a zigzag stitch. So I'm finished hemming it, and I'm just going to iron that ends when I'm ready to. The next thing is to put the band on the skirt. So since my band is 2 inches, I'm going to just use about 1.5 inches in width of elastic, and I'm going to use the circumference of my waist, the real circumference of my waist. The real circumference of my waist is about 26 inches. My elastic was not up to 26 inches, so I used just 23 inches. But it is better to use the real circumference of your waist. Let's say it is 26 inches, and then pass it into the band at the back. Then after doing that, I'm just going to stitch my elastic in two places so my elastic doesn't unravel or mess up on me, or cause me to be disgraced, because my village people can be at work but the Lord will not let them to overcome. All right, so this is me stitching my elastic in two places so it will be firm and it won't unravel or mess up. So I'm going to show you now what I did. So this is it, just two stitches with zigzag. In fact, I have hammered that thing down. There's no way that the elastic will scatter. Like, no weapon fashioned against that elastic will prosper. I'm just saying. So at the point where I put my elastic in, I'm just going to cover that seam or press it down with a top stitch just to close the back where I passed in my elastic through. So you leave like about 1 inch to pass the elastic through, and then after passing it through, you top stitch at that part. And then you see our skirt is already ready. In fact, it is more than ready. You can wear it anywhere you want now. At this point, you can make this skirt for yourself, you can make it for your daughter, your child, your siblings, any of your loved ones. It's going to be a very, very nice, pretty skirt and a nice gift for your loved ones. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.